Your defense is in trouble. And get ya in the room.
Evening, Tate.
Evening, Jack. You all good?
Yes, mate. How are you?
I think you can tell from the intro.
Warning if you're headphone users. Sorry about that.
Apologies, in quite a good mood after the victory last night.
Yep.
Yesterday evening.
Yep. Good weekend for yourself.
Yes, no, it was a good weekend. What I say, a good weekend. Some of the Saturday football was pretty dull. Pretty dull, wasn't it?
Awful. A few skips tonight, I think.
We are using a new. Well, Jack is using a new microphone tonight.
Yes. Hopefully it sounds alright. I mean, we've done a few tests and what we can, but normally when we upload it, that's when the issues, if there are any, that's when it happens. But I suppose, like Tate said before, it's just got to try it and go from there, really.
Episode 29, the first bit of investment.
Yeah. all those monetary, all those ads.
So without further ado, let's crack into the teaser this week.
Yep.
So this podcast will basically be, we're going to talk about West Ham and Everton. We'll review that game and then go into Everton in a bit more detail, what's going on, why it's going on, what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Frank Lampard's been sacked this afternoon.
Yeah. Expected that, didn't we?
Yeah. And then go into Arsenal, Manchester United, and a little bit of the rest of the games, and a little bit of any other business may do, and then the usuals: win of the week, team of the week, win losers, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So, this teaser: Everton are one of the 12 founding members of the Football League. But can you name the other two current Premier League teams in that list?
All right, give it a go.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
So let's start at London Stadium.
Yes, with Everton.
West Ham versus Everton. El Sacico, as it was named online.
Yeah, and it was right, really.
And it's proved.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the last quote-unquote El Sacico I can remember was last season. It was Nuno versus Solskjaer, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're looking back, maybe he should have won. Maybe we were better with him than without him, but who knows. Yeah.
So both teams went into this game on a 1 win and 7. No, sorry, a 7 winless game, which was both horrific form. And like the title said, Everton have left this game in a very sticky situation. No manager, joint bottom of the league. At one stage they were bottom. With if it wasn't for the VAR goal and the late Aston Villa goal, shall I say, they would have been bottom of the league.
Yeah, they have no win in 8 now. I know you just said about obviously both teams are winless in 7, but obviously Everton's extended winless run continues.
I fancied this to go with the home team though. Zuma came back in. West Ham went back to a 3/5 at the back, whatever you want to look at it. They looked a bit more back to themselves. Dropped Creswell.
I fancied West Ham, like you're saying about them not winning their first win in the league since October when they beat Bournemouth at home 2-0. And in that run they drew with Southampton away, and they've now beat Everton. So all of those 3 sides are all below West Ham, and they picked up points against all of them. But yeah, like you said, West Ham's first win since October. I think they started Ben Rama after two games in the league coming off the bench. They got rid of Souček, no Cresswell, and like you said, 3 at the back, 3/5. And yeah, they seem to pick some different personnel, and maybe at home that's just gonna keep them away from that bottom 3, I think.
And Antonio actually looked back to his Antonio best really. His assist for the second goal was classic Antonio. Pinned the defender, turned him, awkward, strength, pacey, and then a deflected cross across, and then Bowen finished that off for the second goal.
Yeah.
With Ings coming off of the bench, good signing for you.
Yeah, I was going to say about Ings, but yeah, it's just obviously that new signing and a classic, the sort of cliche comment. But if he stays fit, he'll score goals. But Ings is literally that he is proven quality in the Prem. Not a world beater, but quite a decent centre forward. That's why he was at Villa. But in Villa, mid-table, sort of trying to push up, didn't quite work out for whatever reason, or not fit enough and all that stuff. But yeah, if Moyes can get him in and get him firing, he might even just stir up the pack a bit and get Skamaka scoring, or Bowen might be start firing again and things like that. So yeah, I quite like it. And he's in recent years he was obviously he was at Liverpool. He's rumoured to be going to top clubs, but didn't quite happen. Yeah, I'd be quite happy if I was a West Ham fan.
Well, like you touched on it, if he can stay fit, and watching Sky Sports Newspaper came early, he's out for 2 weeks already.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got a little knee knock on the game, and he's out for Newcastle and Chelsea apparently.
No, that's the point I was saying.
Yeah,
there,
that's why I think a big club. I know obviously it was at Liverpool, but since then no one's
gone near him. Yeah.
touched him. He becomes the first player to play for the Claret and Blue trio.
I thought you might like that.
I thought he had to be, surely.
It's just a bit of information, really. But
Burnley, Villa, and
West Ham.
West Ham.
Yeah.
Is there another Claret and Blue club out there? There must be somewhere.
Scunthorpe.
I think another league.
That's a great shout, by the way.
I can picture them. Yeah.
Yeah, probably there must be some others.
It got end his career at Scunthorpe somewhere.
No, yeah. But on that Danny Ings signing on West Ham, in '97, Harry Redknapp was in charge, and they signed John Hartson and Paul Kitson when they were in a relegation battle, and I think they were 18th at the time when they signed in January/February, whenever it was. Hartson scored 5 in 11. Kitson scored 8 in 14. So it lifted them from 18th to 14th, and obviously escaped relegation. And that pair in terms of West Ham's history, they look back as that strikers pair and as very good and probably one of the best they've seen for a long, long time. And yeah, I'm sure they're hoping that Danny Ings can follow suit and bag some goals for them.
No, I think he'll be. I think West Ham have more, not more than enough, but they have more than the teams that are below them to stay up.
Well, yeah, like I said, they've beat Everton now. They've beat Bournemouth. They drew with Southampton away, and those three are bottom three currently. And I think it's a classic. They're going to be three worst teams than West Ham
because they started the game well. They looked a better team. From Everton looked shot of confidence.
I didn't watch it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched the game actually with Josh.
I don't think it was that great of a game though, was it? It was pretty two poor sides going at it.
Compared to the dross that was given on TV, actually, Josh came around with his fire stick. Or can we say that on here? I'll get it. I've got to touch on that later, actually.
Turn your IP address on.
But yeah, Bowen back in the goals, 2 goals, and on the day he announced he's having twins. And they looked a far better drilled outfit. And Frank made 2 subs at half time. Slight improvement, but West Ham sat there and was like, come on, break us down, beat us. West Ham could have made it 3 in the end. And Everton, 8 losses in 9.
It's bad. They've conceded 16 in 8 games. So, yeah, average 2 a game. And obviously they're not scoring anyway, so that's just a recipe for disaster. I think they've scored 15 in this season. Maybe the joint worst goal scored or second worst, I think, something like that. Yeah, it's just not. And today proved that it was only going to go one way, and Lampard.
3 wins in 20 games this season for Frank.
It's bad.
And I got some numbers on Frank as well because I'm not his biggest fan whatsoever. But he should not get another Premier League job for as long as he doesn't get promoted into the Championship with a Championship team. Yeah. You need to start at the bottom again, mate.
Sorry, what does he do now?
He goes and does.
Yeah, go on. I'm sure you got it.
Be a TV presenter somewhere. Go do Homes Under the Hammer with Dion Dublin. That's your level. Or go be or go be question sport captain. Like I've said, that is his perfect job. To be this little cheeky chappy. Go be an Ali McCoy. So be
join us on the podcast.
Yeah, do something like that. Manager. You're clearly not a very good manager. No. I'm sorry. I really don't. I've had my opinion on this since the day one. No, he got handed that job at Derby, took Derby from 6th to 6th, bottled the Championship playoff final, got Chelsea job because he's a Chelsea legend. Yeah, fair enough. Everyone's going to take that job. A shambles at it. He got really easy ride. Oh, we've got transfer embargo, blah blah blah. No, you did that same team that you couldn't do anyone with. Then you sign all these players, and then you were still like 10th. Tuchel within 6 months won the Champions League of that team. No.
And the same with Everton. When Frank came in, they were 4 points above the drop, and that season they finished 4 points above the drop. And this season now he's in charge from the beginning. They're even worse. Lampard.
I mean, we'll go in this. We might as well start the pure Everton talk now. But Lampard, 43 games, 12 wins, 8 draws, 23 losses, and that's a win percentage of 27.9%, which is the lowest of any permanent manager they've had in my lifetime.
Well, on that percentage, because we're talking about it, but I've got some stuff on Dyche but my man Dyche. I mean, I've heard he's not even a favourite. They've
So,
got
yeah.
Bielsa, which is mental.
The two favourites are Bielsa and Dyche.
Yeah. And I mean, I keep banging on, but surely, I don't know, Matt. Don't get me wrong, I've looked at it, and Dyche is not. I'm not saying he's a world beater, but I'll talk about it. In the circumstances he was given, all the rest of it, he done an incredible job with Burnley. And yeah, surely Everton, all they need now is that man. But surely, yeah, I don't think Bielsa is the right choice. But yeah, I think Dyche at Burnley had a win percentage of like 34 point something percent over all the time. His whole time during Burnley. So yeah, you talk about Lampard's 27 whatever. So
Yeah, 27.9.
Yeah,
It's just shambles. So where has it all gone wrong for Everton? Because under 10 years ago, they used to be a tough little team to go away. And I've got some notes here on their Premier League finishes since I've got it back from 2002. Well, we won't go from there, but the recent years we'll start.
No, go on. I've got similar stuff.
Last 10 years, so 2013, 14 season, they finished 6th, 5th, 11th after Martinez got sacked, and then Koeman got them to 7th, Allardyce 8th, Marco Silva 8th, then sacked, Ancelotti 12 and 10, Lampard 16, and he leaves them in 19th place.
Well, I'd back you up, but even so, I was going to say that they finished 4th in 04-05, but then since then, like you said, they're regularly top 8, mid-table, maybe slightly below mid-table. I haven't got the exact numbers, but Everton have always been a solid side in the Prem. They've just, that old sort of quote or sort of thing, that thought you have, Everton away, that's a tough game. No, regardless of, you don't even look at their position, you just assume they're doing all right. They've got a good, hard-working side. They've got a half-decent striker or a good centre midfielder or whatever they've got. And it's like, bloody hell, Everton away, that's a tough. You might be at home, you're pretty confident against them at home. But, yeah, you think, away, that's going to be difficult. But, yeah, Lampard, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The last couple of years, they've fallen off a cliff, haven't they?
So from 2006 to 2019, they finished outside the top 10. Outside the top 8 twice. So that's consistently, like I said, 7th, 8th, 6th, 5th, even in there. And then since 2019, which I've got a note on there, that's when their recruitment is taking a turn for the worse. And 12th, 10th, 16th, 19th. Remember, you did a little feature on Southampton about a steady decline. And it might be different now they've got rid of Lampard. They were all, if they step rid of Lampard, the whole season, they're going down. They're going down.
They were at the start of the season, they were confident because of what happened at the back end of last season, but they stayed up. I know he's not having a great season, but because of Richarlison, they stayed up. And it wasn't because of Lampard's brilliance or he galvanised the team. Their form didn't change. Benitez would have probably kept them up. They would have finished 17th, but yeah, and because of last season, I think they were given a bit of false hope. And even the start of this season, they were unbeaten in 6 or 7 games. I know they drew a lot of them, but they hadn't lost. And then,
just draw after draw they were getting, weren't they?
Since that first loss, they've just got worse and worse and worse. And yeah, I mean, they'll talk about it now, I suppose, but the signings since Lampard in the summer, they brought in Onana. These are sort of the names that we all know and that play. They brought in Onana, Tarkowski, Cody, that Idrissa Gana Gay came back. Dwight McNeil, Morpay, and James Garner from United, sort of a youngish centre midfielder, spent last year at Forest. And yeah, I think Tate's got him here. But you would say, I know a couple of them aren't great players, but I mean, especially the Tarkowski and Cody. I mean, especially for I'd say a mid-table side to look at them and be like, yeah, decent. I know both centre halves. Onana is a up and coming big Belgian centre midfielder. Okay, McNeil was relegated with Burnley. Morpay is just not a goal scorer at all. He's a hard-working footballer, but he's never going to score goals. Garner, I don't know much about, but yeah, they spent about 110 million, 115 million that summer, and they would have probably thought, they've got building like a slight decent squad here, but yeah.
Well, this is the thing with Everton. It's Mashiri, isn't it, as you pronounce it? Since he's taken over, I think it's the top 6, quote-unquote top 6, big 6, should I say, without Spurs. Sorry, let me reword that. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Man City, and Chelsea have only spent more money than Everton since he's taken over. They've spent like £800 million, but they've spent it on their recruitment's just horrific. Like you've just gone through. A good up and coming player. Like he could be. They probably could make money on him in the summer if they go down. McNeil, He's a good little player, isn't he? But he relegated with Burnley last year. Moyes, like you touched on, doesn't score goals. James Garner had a good season in the Championship.
Yeah, he doesn't even play now, I don't think, does he?
No, I don't think has he even played this season? I don't know. Idrissa Gana Gueye was good when they sold him. He's now come back. He's probably there because he used to like to live there. Tarkowski again got relegated at Burnley. But then him and Cody have probably been their two shining lights. But why Wolves get rid of Connor Cody?
Yeah.
There must be a reason. None of them players are thinking, they're going to push Everton up the league. They're just all sideways steps, if not a downward step.
Yeah.
And that goes back to even the year before.
And the thing is with that as well, they sold, and they talk in the same conversation, I suppose, but they're bringing in these players, and even we forget Dele Alli. They brought in Dele Alli.
Yeah, that was
a waste of time. He is absolute shocking. And they brought him in last season when they needed the total opposite. I said at the time, but they needed the total opposite to Dele Alli. They're fighting relegation. They're fighting for their lives, and they bring in Ali, who just totally lost his head. And he's shown what a waste of time he is. Sold Richarlison for 60 million, and that money, or if they hadn't used it, or they're not allowed to use it, they've not invested it properly. Yeah.
Yeah, they sold Richarlison and got Mopé. That's a massive downgrade.
That's terrible. Whether you know football or not, that's a terrible.
I know, but Mopé's probably scored more goals than him this season. But still, it's still a massive downgrade because he was really important for that team because he played every week and he was like a driving force of getting the crowd up.
And on that as well, in their transfers and the recruitment, they sold Richarlison for 60 million, but Ali was essentially a free when they bought him in. But so they've sold Andre Gomez. They've got rid of Alan, the centre fielder that they played all last season. But they were all sold on loans.
Luca Digne.
Yeah, sold on loans and free deals. The only one that's made the money is Richarlison. So it's ridiculous.
I remember Benitez fell out of Luca Digne, sold him to Villa, another rival at the time, and then replaced him with Miolenko, who is a shambles.
Awful player.
And last year they signed Miolenko. Miolenko for I think it's like 20 mil. Nathan Patterson from Rangers hasn't done great.
Yeah.
Damari Gray, he's been actually very good for them, considering they got him for like 1.5 mil. Ali free, Dross. Andros Townsend, free transfer. But Andros Townsend is not going to get you anywhere.
He's like the back end of his career, and he'll play here and there, but
Solomon Rondon. Wow, I don't think
they've got rid of him. They've got rid of him.
Either they must have cancelled his contract or something.
But that's another one. They've just got him on whatever, maybe a mil, and got rid of him for nothing.
Begovic, I think he's still there on loan. They signed Donny van der Beek on loan, did nothing there, and they signed El Ghazi on loan from Villa, and just did nothing.
He's no longer there as well.
But all these are such low transfer fees because they've actually run out of money now because the money they've wasted. I remember 40 mil on Sigurdsson, 30 mil on Iwobi. They spent £25 million on Alan. They spent.
What was Van der Beek? Was that a loan?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a loan.
They spent 20 mil on Decore, who's down falling out with Lampard. They spent all this money and they got nothing for it. They haven't been able to.
And in that, they could have sold Gordon for whatever stupid money. He's awful. He's been terrible. Yeah.
They've got Moyes Keane out on loan at Juve. Bernard, who was a good little player for them, is gone. James Rodriguez they had. Calvert-Lewin stopped scoring. That's the main thing for them. And there's all this talk about financial fair play. I'm not too sure on the actual figures, what Everton owe or they're spent or what they can and can't spend. But the issue is they're building a brand new stadium, 53,000.
888.
I round it out. Due to open for the start of 2024-25 season.
Yeah, that I was wondering when was that meant to open?
So next year is their last season at Goodison.
Right.
So I'm desperate to go next week to Goodison. We're trying to get tickets. Well, Arsenal always seem to get the new bounce manager. It's an every team thinks that, but I swear it happens all the time.
That's good. Hopefully they get Allardyce in for a game with 6 at the back.
And the new stadium, Brownlee Moor Dock, I think it's called, or Brownlee Dock Moor, is going to cost an estimated 760 million.
Where's that coming from?
If you're playing Barnsley on a Tuesday night, you ain't getting that. You ain't filling 53,000.
I mean, I seen some stuff and read some things, but that's what obviously West Ham were fearing, was that they get this new stadium, 60,000. They'll be in a championship with a athletic stadium, but Everton, that could well and truly happen. It's just and that we're looking at recent, as in the last year and a half transfers. Like this is probably, I imagine, and I'm sure a lot of Everton fans will say that this has been going on for years, like seasons, with probably when they've had when they've had the change of managers. Sorry,
but
change of managers and all the rest of it. It's probably been a constant for the last 3 or 4 years.
So since Mazzeri got in charge, or overtook the club, he's undertook Ronald Koeman, Sam Allardyce, Marco Silva, Carlo Ancelotti, Rafa, and Frank as the managers. All of them, bar from Ancelotti, were uninspiring appointments. I do feel sorry for Everton in a slight sense that I think they were sort of slowly building and maybe getting their reputation up a bit under Ancelotti, but he got offered back the Real Madrid carrot, and you can't say no to Real Madrid, can you?
And if you're exactly,
you're jumping at the chance.
Everton doing quite well, probably exceeding expectations with the squad and the resources that he had, but Real Madrid come knocking, you're going to go back.
Whatever manager gets offered the Real Madrid job, and Ancelotti, like you said, 46% win ratio, the highest of any manager of Everton manager in our lifetime. Just behind Moyes and Martinez, but it's been a slow decrease until Ancelotti got in charge. But the big one for me that all really went wrong after Ancelotti left to get Rafa in was a shambles. He was there 6 months. It clearly didn't work. I know they gave him no money to work with, but the fans weren't having him.
No, as soon as that name appeared, they didn't want him at the club, and it was never going to work, was it?
He plays dire football. But then again, it's such a small, stupid decision to get Frank in, and we're sitting here thinking that they're going to get bloody Bielsa in.
They've gone from
like
Benitez to Lampard to Bielsa's like basketball football. Is ridiculous.
And if the board are there thinking, right, we've got option 1 Bielsa, option 2 Dyche. What on earth are you thinking? Like they're two completely polar opposite managers. Like,
how can you interview?
Do you want to go? Like one way or the other way, like surely you would get 2 managers that sort of play the same sort of football, have the same sort of ideas. No, they're completely different.
Yes.
Who are going to want different things out of different players.
Yeah. And just on their managers, like you said about when that Farhead Mashiri has come in since 2016. There's been, like you said, 9 managers since 2016. And this is that's 6-7 years. They've had 9 different individuals take charge. From 92 to 2016, they had 10 different managers in charge. 24 years, they've had 1 more manager than they had in the last 6 to 7 years. So there's obviously a lot of, like loads of clubs, there's so much other stuff than just the 11 players that you see on a weekend. But that must be, it just must be so frustrating. But that's obviously a massive reason to why they're suddenly on the decline. Then, like we said, Moyes in that period when he was in charge, he was Everton, wasn't he? He made them that side I said earlier, Everton away. That's a tough game. They're good players and this and that. But pretty much since Moyes, they've struggled massively.
Well, you've got here so Ancelotti 13 wins, 17 wins. Lampard 11 wins. Well, that was last year. They won 11 games last year, and they're just minus 23 goal difference. That's just shambolic. They've just been 66 goals conceded. Like.
Shocking.
How many
last season?
Yeah. Like we always say, like how many of the Everton team would you take for Spurs? Like in a relegation team, like every time a team gets relegated, like you'd take a couple of players out of there. I wouldn't even bother touching Calvert-Lewin now, even if he's fit.
Yeah. Like I would have said Calvert-Lewin probably a year ago, but like you said, if he's injured and not fit, it's probably not even worth your time. I'd have Pickford. Pickford.
Would you have England Pickford? Would you have England Pickford? Or would you have Everton Pickford?
Well, yeah.
Because
I'd have Pickford and hope that he'd change club, change his scenery, and be the goalie.
Because he hasn't been good for them for a little while. I mean, actually, Onana has probably been their only shining light. Well, apart from the 2 centre halves, he actually looks pretty decent. Demarai Gray maybe, but we're clutching, aren't you?
Yeah, those sort of players or their squad in general would go to mid-table sides. Maybe if Fulham and Brentford say stay top half, they'd look at those sort of teams. But I don't know. It's strange on Everton. They've not been relegated from the top division.
Ever,
yeah.
So it's them.
Ever. Top division.
Top of my head, it's them. Arsenal, Spurs, United, Chelsea, Liverpool.
So the last time Everton got relegated from the top division was 1951. I think Arsenal's was like 20, 30 years before that. Tottenham's was about 20 or so years after. Everton's like 70s, mid-70s. So, technically from the Prem, there's a few sides. But, if Everton go down, that would be enormous. Like that
Yeah.
would be ridiculous.
That'd be the biggest club, I'd say, since Villa/Newcastle to go down back when they went down.
I'd probably say, definitely, yeah. I mean,
Probably the biggest club in my lifetime. Maybe
Yeah,
Newcastle. Newcastle when they went down in like 2008, I think they did, or whenever Shearer took them down.
it would be. I think Everton, obviously, yes, 100% the biggest club to ever go down. But yeah, Newcastle, Villa are probably a close second. But yeah, if Everton go, that'd be ridiculous. And like I said, if they're moving into a new stadium, it could. I mean, they're in turmoil now, but imagine
that could be
the
horrific.
scenes. Not a nice place to be.
So, like I texted you yesterday, this is the perfect time. He was always going to get sacked because now they don't play for 2 weeks.
That was a good point, actually. I didn't really.
They're not in the FA Cup. They've got 2 weeks to prepare for Arsenal at home on the 4th of Feb, which the fans will be. Apparently, they've released another statement that they've got the owners can't come because it's going to be safety reasons or whatever.
Yeah.
That place is going to be rocking.
Yeah,
it's got to be. There's going to be a new manager in charge. It's going to be rocking. I mean, if it could be even more toxic than it's ever been if they lose 2-3-0. But
they've protests and they're singing against the players, the manager recently, and the board. But up until the games as such, they have been in support. They're before the games start and up until they go 1-0, 2-0 down, they've always been supporting. It has been the atmosphere, but yeah, like you said, if they have 2 weeks basically building up to watching Everton play again, it'll be brilliant until Arsenal go up.
And after Arsenal, they then travel to Liverpool for the Merseyside derby the week after February 13th, and then they host Leeds and then Aston Villa to complete their February schedule. They're going to have to get some points out of them games.
Yeah, it's a perfect time, like you said, that couple of weeks, but yeah. Arsenal home, Liverpool away. That could be 0 points for that new manager. But then, like you said, the games after they need to pick up, like all the bottoms, and everyone says it every year. But when the bottom sides are at home, they've got to pick up points, have to, and especially against the teams around them. But which hasn't happened for Lampard recently, has it? They've lost against West Ham. They've picked up some poor results recently. So.
And like we said, touching earlier, that Frank joins his mate, old Gerrard,
at
the job centre.
Yeah, exactly.
How long do they be back on BT being pundits with Rio?
Imagine Gerrard into Everton. Ooh.
Never know.
No,
you never know.
Can't happen.
And just quickly going back to West Ham before we move on, if that was crucial, they got that win because they then faced 3 sides in like the quote unquote big 7, if you include Newcastle in there. Because their next league game is trip to Newcastle, and then they host Chelsea before going to Spurs on February the 19th.
Yeah, and that game at the weekend, Everton was that last of that 4 I kept going on about, and they obviously got the win against Everton.
Finally.
Yeah. I mean, Newcastle away is tough, and knowing how West Ham are, their fans will be worried that they're playing Chelsea and Tottenham, but if you look at how Chelsea and Tottenham in particular are playing at the moment, they'll almost be well up for it. I don't think they'll be worried, and it's a free hit as it is always. It's a free hit for them, but like you said, they need to pick up points. If they can get 3 points from those games, they'll be over the moon. Yeah,
'cause they're not scoring at St James's Park.
No one scores.
No one scores in Newcastle games at the moment.
They're stupid.
But that pretty much wraps up what I've got for Everton. Have you got any more to touch on?
No, just that we put a little poll out for Moyes to stay or go. I think before the game, or might have been after the game itself, and there was a slight higher percentage for those wanting him to stay. And I think a lot of West Ham fans will say it from the weekend. It was not a good performance. It papers over the cracks and all the classic cliches. But I think at this point it doesn't matter. You just got to win. You got to stay in the league, and that at the weekend was a win. And you got the job done. You got to move on. And I think stay in the league this season, and if Moyes is there at the end or goes in the summer, or whatever, then they can try and rebuild, I suppose. But I think they've just got to worry about getting in, staying in the league, and not dropping off like Everton.
No, I think it would be a rash decision to sack Moyes. I think he's done enough good work to see the season out and then maybe part ways, because whatever happens this season, it's going to be a defining summer for West Ham, because Rice is leaving.
Yeah.
And then it's how do you rebalance the squad with that massive gap you've got. Yeah. Clearly, some of the players you've had over the last few years, Fabianski surely needs to be moved on. Antonio might even be moved on the next 8 days. Creswell, maybe his time's up. Kufau, Souček, seem out of favour, not performing very well.
Yeah.
Is it time for this big rebuild? I actually only listened to snippets of his interview on is it Daria, the CEO?
Yeah,
and
the Moyes podcast.
Yeah, and he touched on a bit that last summer/spring they had a few dodgy results, and they'd made a decision within the board to go for younger players, a bit more technical players, to try and change it up a bit, to try and get more quality in the squad. And obviously that does take time. I've seen at Arsenal it takes a bit more time to integrate all them players and make a new system, especially when you've got the old ones still lying around there. But yeah, in the summer is going to be, as long as they stay up, it's a big summer for West Ham.
Yeah, and it's easy to sit and go, I always do it, but right, get rid of him, keep him, and we'll be fine. Like, it's not like you said. That rebuild won't take the summer. It takes 2-3 seasons, 3.5 years to sort out. So all those players, Kufau, Cresswell, Ogbonna, whoever else, Fabianski, that yes, they might want new players for them, but it's impossible just to pick up 5-6 players and put them straight in your starting 11. But on that, Ballon Dawson has moved on, hasn't he?
He's gone to Wolves.
Yeah.
I did watch a fantastic video. I think it was for West Ham Central. It was like 8 minutes long. It did go a bit long in the end, but it was
brilliant.
Bloody good.
It's basically all like Ronaldo and Messi and whoever else. I'm thinking Mbappe, but they basically just made it look like they were talking about Dawson and showing Craig Dawson's clips and stuff. But yeah, he's moved. I think that's more personal reason. But he tried to move in the summer, but didn't quite work out. But
getting gone to relegation rival though.
Yeah. Well, he's moved up the table, hasn't he? So.
Look,
they're above
he's moved down by 1 point.
No, he knows. He sees the project with love taking.
Well, old Ben Foster will be happy because he's finally moved up north a bit,
Yeah.
so he'll be on the podcast.
Yeah, he might get him on very soon.
Maybe he gets on before me and Jack get on.
But yeah, Everton get Dyche in,
and you'll be right.
Yeah.
Right, we'll catch you in a bit.
Welcome back. As you may have gathered from the start of the show, that we're obviously going to be talking about Arsenal's win against United after Tate's fabulous rendition of the Nketiah song. Tate, why don't you start us off?
Well, yeah, what a game.
Yeah, it was. It was. I'd say it was a good game.
Would you class yourself as a neutral for that game?
Most definitely not. I had Red Devil on my back.
Yeah, but surely you wanted Arsenal to win so you can get top 4.
No.
Surely.
Not a chance.
Surely.
No way. No.
Surely a little bit like a fist pump went in when you knew Eddie scored that last minute winner.
Rashford put it through Partey's legs. That was great. That was a great watch.
It was a lovely goal, that. Oh, let's start there. Rashford scoring his 17th goal of the season. Outrageous bit of skill, wasn't it?
Very good. Yeah, it was really good.
And then back again with a Selly.
Yeah.
Point to the temple. How many goals has he started banging since he's done that?
But that was a proper Rashford hit.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of swaz on it.
Yeah.
Hate to use that word. Billy Wingrove is out there.
It's one of them goals which is lovely because, like you said, he's hit it so well. The ball bounces past the goalkeeper.
A bit of a thump, wasn't it?
It bounces.
Exactly,
the same as the Saka's goal. It bounces on the goal line, so the keeper's got no chance.
Because it almost goes as the goalie dives. The ball goes under his arm as his arm hits the ground. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. But yeah, good goal. And I thought, game on. And it was really.
I think it's the 4th time Arsenal have gone behind this season. We haven't been behind for long. And then we soon equalised. Quick maths, 7 minutes later. Eddie, first goal of the game.
Good goal.
It actually came from Man United playing out for the back, didn't it? Gave away the corner. Worked a short corner routine. Zinchenko, who I thought was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he's good. And he's been last 2 weeks. Been
played the ball to Odegaard. Odegaard again's outstanding. Played it to Xhaka. Lovely ball across, and then Eddie of the header from 6 yards out. Wan-Bissaka caught sleeping at the back post. I was never really that nervous the first half. I thought maybe not playing as well as we can, but I know we can improve. I know we.
Yeah, that's what United. They survived that first 15-20.
Oh yeah.
Got their goal, but yeah, Arsenal at home in that first 15 is relentless. It's chaos. It's backs against the wall. They're flying everywhere. The ball's being popped around 1 and 2 touch. and you think, oh right, if I get through that first 15, 20, whatever side you are, you go, you take a little breather and go, right, let's get into the game. And United did that perfectly. They scored a goal, which is hard to do at Arsenal, and yeah, they were right in the game. But they, like you said, I never thought Arsenal were playing bad or United are going to run all over them. Arsenal were just playing well. It was a good bit of skill from Rashford and really, really strong hit, and they're 1-0 down. And yeah, like you said, your man Eddie pops up with a nice goal.
So he's good at though. Back post, instinctive goal, just ran off the back of Wan-Bissaka, who he's alright, and he's okay.
He's having a bad game, Wan-Bissaka.
If both fullbacks are having bad games, aren't they? Cause
yeah, sure. What he was frightened, wasn't he? He was frightened of. Saka.
He's bloody good though.
He was good.
Saka is a joke. Like he's
obviously no sure. Obviously, watch him and they see him, but yeah, through England, he would have known what he's capable of, and you could tell. I mean, not that I really take much notice of Shaw defending, but I'm pretty sure he's never defended like that in his life. And yeah, against Arsenal, against Saka, he just kept backing off and was so frightened to dive in because Saka can go either way. He likes to jink both ways and cut it back and whatever he does. Yeah, I was really surprised and obviously quite upset that he defended that way. But to be fair, Wan-Bissaka was, in general, his whole game was bad, but I thought he started off against Martinelli quite well. It was like 2 occasions. It was 1v1 and he had to defend for like 20, 30 yards, which is incredibly hard to do, and won the ball. I thought, oh, he's doing alright. But yeah, after that first goal, it was downhill from there.
The problem is when you're defending Arsenal at the moment, them 2 wingers are relentless. Yeah. And they come at you every time. Like just like you've got 10 attacking one-on-ones to play, you might win 3 of them, but you've still got 7 to go at. Like it's just relentless, non-stop.
Exactly. They'll keep going, and Saka's prime example that, all right, he'll lose the 9 of them, but that one time he scores a goal, or he crosses it in, or he makes a pass. So yeah, those 2 are just, they don't know when to stop at the minute.
So going into the second half, it was 7 minutes in, Saka got the ball right hand side after Tomiyasu's pass, and then actually it was because Shaw had left McTominay out there. He didn't not McTominay, Eriksen out there. That was what he wanted. He wanted to face up a midfielder who can't defend, and can't defend. Faced him up, got it on his left, and what a finish! Probably I don't think he scored a goal for Arsenal further out than he's hit that one. Yeah. Straight into the corner.
When I saw it, I thought, like, I was a bit like, surely is it defending, or like, obviously Eriksen's pretty poor, but it was a good hit, but it wasn't like Rashford's hit, was it? He didn't hit it as hard. He didn't.
Not as hard, but it swerved round and
he placed it perfectly, I suppose.
It's like I said earlier, it bounces after the goalkeeper. Like, you can't blame anyone, I don't think. If anyone, you blame Eriksen for not getting out to him and defending it better.
I could have told you he was going to do that.
But
yeah, I mean, talk about that's been mentioned there. Midfield, obviously, they miss Casemiro massively, which obviously are going to. What is he? A 5-time winning Champions League winner. One multiple times. You're going to miss him, and McTominay, like we always say with all our teams, and obviously Tate talked about Arsenal, I talk about Spurs, but when your first 11 isn't available and your backups are playing, it is a massive drop off.
Especially
McTominay's exactly that.
In that position. Your, for example, is Bentancur. If Arsenal have Thomas Partey, I think Partey's missed 1, maybe 2 games this season. The one he did miss was at Old Trafford. There's obviously a correlation to why we lost that game, and probably that's the right word I'm looking for, and probably vice versa with Casemiro. But what I will say, and I am biased and whatnot, and take it with a pinch of salt, I don't think I can remember such a hoo-ha about one player missing. They've built up this.
It's Man United, though, isn't it? It is
like,
because it's them.
When it was. We got booked, like it was a horrendous tackle on Zaha for the yellow card, 100% a yellow card. Sky were like, someone's died. Like it was they made it like a goal. It was like, oh my god, yellow card. It was like watching WWE. Like the commentator,
yellow card,
and then they snipped it, put it on their Twitter channels, and it was everywhere. Then TalkSport take it up, and it's like a whole segment on the show. This yellow card, like, he's a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the reason they lost that game. No. He's not the reason Arsenal won that game.
No, and I don't think
there's more to it. Arsenal had 65 bloody touches in their half. They're just Arsenal.
In the box, I think it was
in the box. Yeah, the record of the season. Man United. It was important, but
I don't. Yeah, I think Casemiro would have improved Man United, and I don't think they would have. I don't think the result would have changed if Casemiro was playing, but I do think in terms of Man United that with Casemiro playing, it allows Eriksen and Fernandes to do what they normally or have been doing for the last 12 games. They're unbeaten in 12 in the league.
Mm.
And I just think with McTominay,
There's a massive drop-off, isn't there?
but with Eriksen, like the fact McTominay plays and it's not Casemiro, Eriksen and Fernandes are found wanting more because obviously McTominay's not that good in comparison. So in the midfield three of Casemiro, Fernandes and Eriksen, those two can float around, they can get on the ball, they look nice, they do all their nice passing, because Casemiro's behind probably doing 2 or 3 man work, but McTominay's not quite good enough to do that.
I mean, 6 minutes after that, they did equalise. Rashford, a Ramsdale absolute stinker from a corner. Should have just punched it.
Wasn't he? Yeah.
I think he got caught between two minds, got caught into Tomiyasu, and they then equalised on the 59th minute. It was 6 minutes after going 2-1 down. Martinez's first goal. The Butcher.
The Butcher. What is he wearing?
I think he got hit on the head in one of the League Cup games, or FA Cup game. But that sort of signalled Man United's shut up shop, really.
They just retreated, didn't they? They massively took a step back.
So Saka hit the post, but then that was when Fred came on for. This is why.
Was it
No, it was the fidget spinner.
Oh yeah, Anthony.
But that's the reason Man United lost this game in the end, because they couldn't get out. Their attackers, like apart from Rashford, who was absolutely superb, but there's this stat here blew my mind. He was the only one making anything work. He nearly scored. Ramsey made a good save. He made 3 touches in the final 30 minutes.
Really?
So once they scored in the 59th minute, 30 minutes, he touched the ball 3 times. And he is their most dangerous player by an absolute landslide. Weg Warkhorse, whatever his name is okay.
I was quite surprised by him.
Anthony is terrible.
Yeah,
he was terrible. £100 million for what? He gets the ball, he slows everything down. Thomas Partey outpaced him at some stage. He just looks like a spoilt brat.
Yeah. I thought Verkhorst was doing alright for large portions of the game. He was like classic target man, wasn't he? Like linking up play. I thought, quite surprised, but yeah, it's a shame really. They, like you said, after that second goal they equalised and they just totally changed the way they played. And like you said, Rashford didn't get involved. They weren't even like hitting it longer, so Rashford just chased things. It was I mean, yes, that is partly down to Arsenal, the way they played, and they sort of took it up a notch again, didn't they? But yeah, it was a shame. It was a shame.
They just couldn't get out, man. That final 25 minutes, they were relentless. Like I touched on, Saka hit a post. De Gea made a great save from Nketiah. Snapshot, flicker. He hit the post. Lovely left foot shot, great save from De Gea. Nketiah lucky to stay on the pitch after his violent conduct with De Gea.
Oh, yeah.
That was outrageous.
It was. No, it's shocking, like from De Gea, but it's just. That is football. Ramsdale will do that next week.
Oh yeah, but it's.
He will.
No, he will. Yeah.
And Saka will dive down and hold his head when
God's child diving.
When his ankle's been touched, like it just happens. It's football. Tottenham will probably do it tonight, or Mitrovic will do it because they'll be 2-0 up.
Mitro.
Yeah, it's poor, but it's just whatever, isn't it? It's when you're sat home and it's like, oh look at that dive, that's like rugby. No, grow up. Just turn it off if you don't like it.
Trossard came on from Martinelli the last. So I thought he had quite a good, nice little cameo.
The radar, isn't it? The Trossard transfer.
So funny enough, do you remember one of the questions? And it was Griffith asked me if you could sign any player. Who would you sign? I said Trossard.
Plucked his name out the top of his head. Yeah.
So Trossard is graying at 28. Is now an Arsenal player. And I think he looks a good Arsenal player. I'm quite happy with the signing.
Yeah.
I know our Danbury goat Andy Houghton did ask me this question. Are you happy with the Trossard sign? I think it's a sensible signing. It's gone against what we normally do with our youngsters we've been doing, but for £20 million, add-ons £27 million, proven Premier League player, scored numerous goals against big, quote-unquote, big six teams. Scored against us last year, scored the winner against us last year, scored the winner against you last year. Hat-trick against... Hat-trick against Liverpool this season. Both-footed, very important for Arteta, and could probably play anywhere across that front line. Like, I reckon he could maybe do a job as a false 9.
He's a massive upgrade in terms of backup as well. And he probably will start a lot of games, I think, as also. But
yeah, he's important to give Martinelli and Saka a rest in the Europa League game if we get through on Friday against Man City. Maybe we get a nice, easy draw in the FA Cup. I don't know. It's an option. I know. Playing Bournemouth at home, maybe you don't need to start Martinelli. Like, if you've got 2 games in a week, I don't know. But he's a good option to have. And I thought he had a nice little cameo. And it was him who picked the ball up from Partey's pass to slip it through to Zinchenko, played it across to Odegaard, deflected pass cross, and Eddie poked it home. Zlatan-esque for the old boot. And my reaction to that goal was complete silence.
Really?
And this is what's really sad. Yeah. I'm sat there in complete silence because I'm like, I can't celebrate. I cannot let myself think that we've won this game. And Neville's going, it's a goal, it's a goal, it's a goal, it's a goal. I can tell how angry he is inside, Neville, and he's like wishing that somehow it got disallowed. And I thought, oh, Zinchenko looks offside.
It was the first one when.
And then it went back, and then and then he was like, no, he's onside. And then Eddie was like, oh, Eddie actually looks onside. Then I showed another angle, and it's like, oh, is his boot going to be offside?
No, I saw it obviously as it happened, but Nketiah was miles onside because Wan-Bissaka was about 3 or 4 yards deep, it seemed, but. Yeah, I thought the first one they didn't look at it as in depth, or they didn't show us too much of it. I thought, oh, that's a bit, is that onside, offside? But yeah, you've seen the photos after. Yeah, he's onside as well. But that was clutching at straws at the end for most.
So eventually, they did give it. And I gave a little. It was a small little fist pump because I was like, it's still because they never told me how much time was added on. It ended up being 4 minutes, which was outrageous because I thought there's probably more. And this is another thing. Like going back to they need the World Cup injury time back because 4 minutes in that game was unacceptable. Because 3 goals, numerous subs, I don't know how many subs were made. I know Arsenal only made 1, United must have made 2 or 3. And because the goal was scored bang on 90, that VAR took at least 1 minute.
Yeah.
There was more than 3 minutes added on. Like, Man United probably deserved to play another 2-3 minutes after that. But, I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. And then when the full-time whistle went, I did go bloody nuts. Because I was just like, that is a real...
That was huge.
We needed that. It wasn't like the Spurs game where I sort of thought we'd won come the 70th minute, 60th and 80th minute. It was sort of that was like a prolonged celebration. Then last minute winners are special. There's not much.
That was big, and like you're saying, exactly that. But the Tottenham game was a big moment. But like you said, you were comfortable after the first half. It was done. So that sort of release wasn't there. But yeah, United at the weekend again. Obviously, far more important and a bigger game than Spurs was. But yeah, you score so late on. All your emotions are running. Yeah, it was another big moment, and puts you 5 points clear.
Considering we went into that game 2 points clear because Man City got back-to-back wins, but Eddie Nketiah has scored 19 goals across his last 26 starts for Arsenal in all competitions, including 13 in his last 13 starts at the Emirates Stadium. And that now takes us into the new segment, the Eddie counter. So.
God.
No, there's a lot to take in here. So, you'll remember from podcast 1, we had some... What was the title I used? Your hot take of the season.
Yeah, hot take. Yes.
I had a couple. You had Leicester obviously have a poor season. I think you had another one. I can't remember what the other one. Sure. I had Nketiah to outscore any Man United player. Might not happen, but total goals. We'll start Premier League goals. Total goals. Total minutes per goals. I've got a massive spreadsheet here we're reading off. Nketiah, 9 goals he scored in 25 games. Rashford, 28 games, 17 goals. That seems a landslide considering the amount of games. But Rashford has played a total of 2,121 minutes in all comps. Nketiah has played a total of 1,291 minutes. I mean, apologies if I'm losing you here, listeners. But the total minutes per goal is only 20 minutes difference. Nketiah is doing well. So, the intriguing bit, forget the cup games for the time being. I want to focus on just purely Premier League. Eddie Nketiah has had 5 starts this season. His first start came on Boxing Day. He scored 4 goals in them 5 starts. Bear in mind, listen to this. The last game just played, which is by Man United, he then overtook Cristiano Ronaldo in Premier League minutes. Ronaldo played more minutes than
up until this point.
Up until last game. Jadon Sancho, who? Jadon Sancho has played on paper 7 less games in the Premier League, but has played. Jadon Sancho still played 123 minutes more than Nketiah has this season. Bruno Fernandes has played over 1,200 minutes. Anthony has played over 300 minutes more than
Than
Nketiah, but played on paper 6 less games.
He's doing well. Yeah, no, he's doing.
He's cooking slowly. Like Rashford, since coming back from the World Cup, has just been on steroids. Like he's literally gone off the face of the earth. Like 17 goals he scored already. Like I didn't realise it was that much. I was doing it this morning. I was like, oh my god.
Better put that one aside.
He is 8 goals behind. But I think I worked out that his 20 games, Rashford's minutes, equals 18 full games. 18 full games in terms of if he divided his minutes by. This is really geeky stuff, and sorry if I've lost you all, but he's played 18 full games. Nketiah's minutes turned into games of 90 minutes is 6. 6 full games, 4 goals. Eddie's cooking.
Yeah, he's good. And
Eddie's doing alright.
He scored twice at the weekend, but he also actually does. He's part of the team. Like he works well within the side. And again, you'd always play Jesus if he's fit, but if it comes to the end of the season and you've done whatever you've done, or and Jesus is back fit, who knows? Nketiah might be the starting striker.
Well, I said that when he was injured, Nketiah will outscore Jesus easily in these games. He's got 1 goal behind his Premier League total already. He's already our top goal scorer in all comps, Nketiah, of 9 goals. But Rashford 17, he's only scored more than 17 goals twice in his career in a full season. So he's having
a really good season for himself. Yeah.
And them seasons, he played 57 games and 44 games in all comps. So he's having this fantastic season. As much as Eddie's having a fantastic season, so it's Rashford.
Yeah, Rashford turned it on. Like we said last week, I would say he's that player who's actually driving United forward. I don't know, you sent me a little screenshot earlier, but do you want to talk about the United fans and stuff now, or should I save that?
I'll finish this one quick thing on Nketiah quickly. The total goals, so Nketiah has outscored every single Manchester United player, bar Rashford. So he's not doing bad. He's doing all right. We can go into the fans.
No, I'm just saying. So United are unbeaten in 12. Like I said earlier, in the league, unbeaten in 12.
Were.
Oh yeah, were. So they were going to go to unbeaten in 13 if they hadn't lost, and then suddenly they're comfortably 4th. They're doing well. They've come back from the World Cup. They're flying. And suddenly it's, let's get the green and yellow scarves out. We lost today because of the Glazers. Like, what a load of rubbish.
It was Goldbridge who brought it up, didn't he? I mean, football fans are all fickle. We all are. And I actually listened to a podcast earlier about Arsenal, and they were actually talking, do Arsenal fans owe the Cronkies an apology? And it's a bit like, no, I don't think any club really like their owners that much. But then, let's be honest, do any football fans really give a shit about their owners when they're winning football matches?
No, of course not. You never do.
They don't.
Exactly that. Like I just said, United on an unbeaten run, won 9 in a row, something stupid. And they get beat at Arsenal and suddenly Glazers out.
Because I think Goldbridge's tweet was them two points dropped are on the Glazers for not investing. You subbed off your £100 million winger. That's not the Glazers' fault. That's your fault for signing someone who's shit.
Yeah. You got a Maguire, £50 million centre back on the bench.
80.
80, yeah, sorry.
80.
How wrong? Yeah, 80. He's not even playing. Doesn't even get in the squad. Yeah.
You got a centre midfielder who didn't have any discipline and got booked.
Yeah.
No, because there was actually Arsenal had Saliba, Gabriel, and Saka all on 4 yellows going to that. Saliba got his 4th yellow on October the 12th. He hasn't been booked since then. Now you're going to miss games against Spurs, Chelsea.
Even United, if you'd have got booked before. Yeah, no, like you said, it's just bizarre, isn't it? It's just fans are classic.
But Ben Graham did say it's about he's concerned that now they're up for sale, they're not going to invest. Although I'm not too clued up on the Man United figures. Apparently, it wasn't never the Glazers investing their money, but Man United are them, so they're still investing their money. So, you know what I mean? They don't want to spend any more of the club's money because they still want it all themselves. Yeah. And who else is there to buy? Like, the recruitment there has been horrific, and it still is horrific. Why are you signing Weg Walkerhorst? Yeah. Is that what you really thought of? You had Arnautovic and Vorkhorst. They're your two. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. There's players out there who, why didn't you try and, I don't know, you've got Jadon Sancho, who's physically and mentally not fit to play. Like, why? Another, was he 80 million, 90 million pound player?
Yeah, and like we said earlier, but when has he been? Just hasn't, I don't know, I've not seen him. I forgot about him, to be honest. I absolutely forgot about him.
You had Cristiano Ronaldo that you got rid of. Like, it is. It's a strange one with these United fans. But that leaves United in 4th, 6 points ahead of Spurs, level on points. Talking of Spurs, let's move on to. Unless you got any more to add on that game?
No.
I've got a question here for you, Jack. I want you to answer it honestly. 6 points off 4th. Is it really that bad?
I know, yeah, and when you think about it, it's like Chelsea having a far worse season. Liverpool are obviously not the West Ham are anywhere near us, but they're having an awful season. Everton are having an awful season. Never been relegated. They possibly will get relegated. Just sack the manager, but yeah, I mean we're playing Fulham as we speak, and it's just I don't know. It's one of them. It's like I think we need to hit the reset button, go back to. Well, not even go back, but I don't know where we are currently, but just sort of take a seat and realise what we are. We won the League Cup 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was.
2008, 9?
Yeah, 2009 maybe. We won League Cups before that, God knows when we last won something. We got Conte and all of a sudden this season we must win everything. Like I just don't know where it's come from. Yeah, I agree. Like recently we should be. Well, we have been, and we should obviously look for top 4. And we've run them close. Obviously, that one season for the title, but yeah, I just don't know. I think we need to sort of calm down a bit, go back to a manager where, like a Poch, but not necessarily Pochettino. Let him be the manager, get a few players in, do what he wants, build the side, play the football that he wants to play, and it would be a far happier place, I think.
And a manager that's got no association to Chelsea Football Club, surely.
Yeah. Well, what is our 3rd one now, I think? Yeah.
I've got here
4th one.
Poch or Tuchel, question mark.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying all this. I don't know who would get back. Cause I think Poch returning, the classic, it never seems, not with us, for example, we don't really do it, but a manager going back, a player going back to an old club, it just doesn't seem to bode well. I'd absolutely love Pochettino. I still love Pochettino, but I'm not sure. I mean, he had to go at that point, and everybody hated him, and it was terrible, toxic atmosphere. But I think the dream that's he'd come back and he'd be the king, and then blah,
to win something with him would mean more to you than it would.
I don't think it would happen. But then the Chelsea track record has not gone well, so I'm not sure about Tuchel either. Yeah, I mean, we'll go into the rest of the games briefly, I suppose, but it's more after those 2 games, after the West Ham and Arsenal game. It wasn't really. The weekend's football was pretty rubbish.
It was horrific, really. So, Liverpool versus Chelsea, 0-0. I don't want to talk anything about that, apart from Mudryk had a nice little cameo for 15 minutes playing against a 40-year-old.
Everyone's gone on about him, but what, 85 million? Like, hopefully he's quite good. I mean,
he was playing against a 40-year-old James Milner and Trent. So, there we go. Bournemouth versus Forest. I don't even want to talk about that.
1-1. I mean, it's a good point for Forest.
Yeah, that's a poor result for Bournemouth. That they need to win them home games.
Yeah, I think Forest obviously
that's
happier.
The first point and first goal I think they've got since the World Cup.
What, Bournemouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awful side.
Leicester 2, Brighton 2. Probably be a bad result for Brighton in the end.
I was quite surprised. But then obviously Brighton aren't going to win every game every week. Like that's just Brighton. I mean, it's not a terrible point, but yeah, Leicester will be happier out of 2.
I want to shout out. Is it Evan Ferguson?
Yeah, the youngster.
He's been unlucky not to be in our... Just the way the podcasts have fallen, how he hasn't been in the team of the weeks, because he's been scoring a couple of goals, got a few assists
there's a little buzz around
recently.
him.
Southampton 0, Villa 1. Southampton were unlucky with Ward-Prowse got disallowed for VAR, and then Watkins scored a header. And Palace 0.
Away though, Villa. With recently.
I don't even want to talk about Unai Emery. So.
Good evening.
Palace 0, Newcastle 0. That's Newcastle's, I think, 4th 0-0 in like the last 6 games.
It was an awful game to watch.
Kieran Trippier, get him in your fantasy, or Nick Pope, has to be. Leeds 0, Brentford 0. Horrific. And then Man City 3, Wolves 0.
The robot has returned.
The hat-trick that took Erling Haaland to 25 Premier League goals in 19 games. Yes, the reason why Arsenal won't win the Premier League is because We cannot compete with that. We also cannot compete with a team. I haven't got the screenshot. That, I'm not going to lie, played you could argue a B team against Spurs. The bench was De Bruyne, Cancelo, Walker. I think Gundogan was on the bench. Even they gave Alvarez a start. Foden was on the bench. I think Foden even got on. Like they did. They played Aki and Akanji again. Rico.
Yeah, really, they've not been. They haven't been that same side.
Laporte on the bench.
Arsenal playing. If Arsenal were in a blue kit, you wouldn't think anything different.
But
City haven't been that scintillating.
Arsenal are playing at, I'd say, 99.9% capacity at the moment.
Hopefully they've got a break.
Man City are in gear 4.
Yeah.
Shall I tell you what this Arsenal team really remind me of? They really remind me of, I think it's 2013-14 season, of Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool. When they were just going, they're going to do it. Yeah. They're going to do it. Yeah. Somehow they're going to do it. 8 games, there was it 4 games to go there? 8 games, 8 points clear. And then they just went, collapsed. None of them had won anything before. It was Gerrard, the big player, who did the mistake. Then they had the Cristamble. And that's what this team reminds me of. It's different. No one expected it. They're playing lovely football. And it's just like, let's do it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And obviously, City in the background are just grinding because they know what to do it.
Yeah, that's the only. That is the big argument that's come. That is still people are hanging on to. At the start of the season, it was Arsenal only played these teams. They're low, like they're beating rubbish teams. Rah. Wait until they play some good. They've done that. Now there's obviously been a few other things in between. It was whatever reason, but now it's their players haven't done it. They won't do it, and I hope they won't do it. But it's now that City players have been there and done it. They do it every season. They've got that experience, but. Have Arsenal, and obviously they haven't. But
it'd be great for the Premier League, wouldn't it, if we did it?
No, it wouldn't.
Come on!
Rubbish from Neville as well. Like, I'd love Arsenal. What are you talking about?
Neville's been. I don't want to go into Neville too much. He winds me up, but he's doing it on purpose because where Man United are improving more, and Arsenal obviously getting better. This is why I'm always harsh on Man United because I really don't know because that rivalry is rekindling again. That's to me, it's always been my big rivalry. Man United. It's always been. I've always disliked Man United probably more than Spurs because that was the team that we used to always compete with. But that's where Neville. You can tell Neville and Keane just despise us because that's what their rivalry was when they were playing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and Keane more so. Yeah, he's well and truly embedded within that, I suppose.
But yeah. City are just like they were 2-0 down to you at half time over 80 minutes. It's 3-2 and they didn't even look like they pushed a sweat.
I mean, I don't really want to talk about Spurs, but that performance, bloody hell. the goals that we conceded, it's just shocking.
Even the goals you scored were shambles.
I know, well, the fact we were 2-0, I was like, beforehand I was like, City, I want you to win so badly. And then when it's happening, you get caught up in it with 2-0, I'm like, can get a result here. And then you snap back into it. What am I doing? If we win, it only helps Arsenal, or if we get a result, it helps Arsenal. But yeah, don't worry, Tottenham, Spursy turned up, and there we go.
Well, your next Premier League game is Man City at home.
Yes, yeah, we got Fulham tonight, and then City at home.
Yeah, apart from tonight, Coys.
Coys. Well, I was Coys City when we played him, but didn't happen.
I don't actually know. Is Lloris been dropped?
No, he's playing.
Jesus Christ.
He's a World Cup winner, mate.
I don't care. So it's Mustafi.
It's tonight is our supposedly. If you were to pick your best 11, that's our best 11 at the minute. We did have it on the telly, but the PlayStation was roaring behind Tate, so I thought, let's not add to the problems that we might encounter.
That match brings a wrap to my Premier League review. Yeah. Like I said, it was a bit of a dire weekend, really, with a lot of 0-0s.
There was a lot of draws, wasn't it? A lot of boring games.
That we'll make a point on later. But we'll have a quick little break and we'll be back with the last part. So, team of the week. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Do you want to start with the goalkeeper?
Yeah, we went with Nick Pope.
Another clean sheet.
Yeah, but obviously they played Palace in the week, which he made a brilliant save.
What a save! Well, from
Palace on the Friday night, wasn't it? So
no, it's Saturday afternoon.
I'm thinking of Saturday evening. I'm thinking of United Palace, but Pope. Yeah, another clean sheet. He didn't really have much to do, did he? But that one save was
outrageous.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
the ball was hit so hard, and he just about got his arm there, hit his wrist or something. But yeah, just good. Another
11 goals conceded, 12 clean sheets kept. I think is the stat.
Yeah. That is what they've built on it. Eddie Howe's they've got monsters at the back, and three out of the four are 6'3", 4 plus. Obviously, Nick Pope's a giant. They don't want to concede, and then at home they try and get the wins.
It seems to be every week we're picking a Newcastle back four somewhere. One of the people.
Yeah.
Moving on into the defence. So it's a new one. First time he's been in. Chris Richards of Crystal Palace from the US of A.
The American Chris Richards.
So I actually recognised him playing against United because I was like, I haven't seen him before. Playing because he has barely played this season. They signed him in the summer.
He's been injured. Played here and there.
The only reason I recognise him is from FIFA, basically. I go doing a little Crystal Palace career mode when I get a bit bored. But since Christmas, he's been on the bench against Bournemouth, bench against Spurs, bench against Chelsea, and then was given his first start of the season against United. 1-1 draw. He was the one.
Well.
He was the one involved in the quote unquote VAR penalty decision against McTominay, and then another 90 minutes against Newcastle. And them two draws have stopped the rot. Really, they were going in a bit of a bad direction with a lot of losses.
Playing those two teams, United, Newcastle, both part of the top four. Good results for Palace. Yeah, he wasn't. I don't think he was outstanding, and didn't walk away like, oh, what a player. But yeah, he's obviously part of them not conceding and getting some results.
I thought I'd put a special mention in for him. Then on to the midfield. A very attacking team this week. Jared Bowen scoring on and off the field.
Yeah, I'll talk about him later on.
Might
be quite surprised at that.
He's got a double in the oven, and double in the net.
Yeah, 2 goals at the weekend.
And we didn't really have much to pick for, so
no.
He was he got himself in there.
And then we had the vote that obviously you guys listening chose, and it was between Moyes and Mitoma. About 71% for Moyes in the end. So again. Against us, Spurs scored twice, wasn't it? I think in the second half. Did he score again at the weekend?
He scored. No, he's got an assist. He got 2 assists and 1 goal against Spurs, and then got an assist again. I think.
I mean, the main game was against Spurs. Second half, he was very good. They were very good when he was part of that. So midfield, Bowen and Moyes.
And then we've got 2 strikers, and I'm going to nick the first one off you, Jack, because I want you to explain why the second striker's in the team of the week. So I'm going to take Haaland. Score a hat-trick, 4th hat-trick, 25 goals. Yeah. Bloke's a joke. He's got 4 goals in a week.
I think he's beat the record for hat-tricks.
In a season, must do, yeah.
Quick, to get to 4 hat-tricks, but I think the 5th hat-trick has never been nowhere near done, blah, blah. So, again, he'll smash all the records.
Will he get 40?
I said no because you put it out there, but, I mean, he could quite easily. Halfway through, he scored 25, so...
Easy
and like we
joke.
said, Paul, he doesn't need to score against Arsenal or whoever. He just scores 3 against Wolves. He'll score 4 against Leeds. He'll score, you know what I mean?
I think it was 4 in 12 minutes either side at half time as well. He always seems to score in clusters, doesn't he?
Yeah, and if he plays against us, which I'm sure he will at home, bloody hell, against that back.
Well, he did score against you in the week, didn't he?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying at home, when he plays us again, he's got to be looking at 2 or 3 more. So. Yeah, he's an animal.
And then,
the final striker is...
Can we have a drum roll, please?
Bloke called Eddie Nketiah. No, he scored twice against United. And like I said earlier, yes, he's scoring goals, but he's also actually quite a good footballer. And on the outside looking in, obviously, Tate, you're a massive fan, but obviously I think it's more for nibs and to get people riled up. But I thought nothing of Nketiah. When he's playing, I think, that's all right. That's a weak spot, I suppose, or a lesser player, but he's proven a lot of people wrong even if he has to do that. He scored twice, and he is part of them doing very well.
Yeah, first time in the squad,
and last.
You never know. We might fall off a cliff against Everton. New manager bounce.
Yeah, exactly. Get Dyche in, he'll sort him out.
So just to recap: Nick Pope, Chris Richards, Bowen, Riyad Mahrez, Erling Haaland, and Eddie Nketiah in the team and in the room. So shall we move on to our winner and loser of the week?
Let's do it. Do you go first?
Yeah, I've gone for 2 off-field issues.
Ooh, as in
winner and loser, yeah. My winner of the week is my good friend Jake Pannell. I actually forgot to make it. I forgot to mention him last week, but Jake is about to become a father for the second time.
Yes.
So I'd like to say, and the news has now been broke on social media. That's why I didn't mention it, because I wasn't sure. Because we actually did it before with JJ and Kerry. I think we're the first people to break the news. We're like,
to the world.
Shouldn't have done that. But no, congratulations, Jake. He's been on the show as well, and Tatum as well.
I'm sure you're listening.
Oh, yeah, it takes 2 to tango. So, but Jake's been a listener of the show and a guest on the show, so I'm sure listening. But congratulations, Jake, on being
congrats, mate.
A father for the second time. You are my winner of the week.
Lovely, very nice touch. So my winner of the week, I've gone for Jared Bowen. Talking about children. He's obviously he scored twice against Everton at the weekend, but he's having twins as well. You saw that through his celebration. I just thought, scored twice against a relegation rival in a massive game at home. Celebrating the fact he's obviously having twins. And he hasn't scored since September when they won 3-1 at home against Fulham. That was his 3rd and 4th league goal of the season. West Ham get a win, scores twice, receive exciting news about the twins. So Jared Bowen, winner of the week.
Do you know what really irritated me about his situation, about his celebration?
Go on.
He didn't put the ball under his shirt for the second goal. He's having twins. Should have done it for both.
We've got another one.
I was watching with Josh. I was like, that's really irritating me, because the ball was sitting there on the cone. I was like, just pick it up, pick it up. No, that's a lovely one. Very, very strange how they're both about kids. So my loser of the week, didn't know where to go here, but there's a few news articles in the week, mainly last week, that have been irritating me, and it actually came to a head. That's the wrong. It sounds a bit dramatic, but it came to fruition more for me personally this week, and it's TV companies, Sky, BT, Amazon, complaining that they've lost £3 billion on illegal streams. They charge over £100 a month to have to be on all 3 platforms, and you don't get to choose the games. Like you only get given the games that they put on there. So this week there were 3 0-0 games on Sky. You had the mid-table clash of Liverpool versus Chelsea, 0-0, absolutely dross. You had Palace versus Newcastle on Saturday Night Football, 0-0, horrific. I don't even want to watch the 2-minute 59-second highlights of Leeds versus Brentford on YouTube. I cannot imagine what that game was like. And then luckily Arsenal United saved the day. I mean, they've got Spurs versus Fulham. That could be whatever that result could be. But why you can't expect people who don't earn all that money to spend £100 a month to spend all this money, and they spend it off $3 billion. You make millions of money. Put it all on one platform or something, or charge less, or have all the games on there so people can pick and choose what they want to watch. We watched West Ham versus Everton. That was the game of probably the Saturday, and no, you couldn't watch it anywhere. But you go to France or anywhere in Europe, and you can watch all the games and everyone for half the price.
Find a pub or watch it at home, whatever. Yeah, they've got it all.
So my lose of the week are the big TV companies complaining that they've lost money.
Like it. Well, mine's gone. I have gone with my loser of the week as Juventus. They got deducted 15 points. I think either the weekend or last week or something from the current season. It's moved them from 3rd to 10th. They're accused of fixing their balance sheets by artificial gains from their club transfers. So they are appealing it, and it's. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure how that works really, but. The fact they've already got the points deducted, but they are still appealing it. 11 former and current executives have received sanctions. Their former president, I think, who a lot of them like Nedved, and I don't know their names, but I knew Nedved was an executive, and they all got out. They jumped ship straight away. 15-point deduction. Like I said, 3rd to 10th. That's a bit of a stinker. And my question is, Paratici, is he in trouble?
Isn't he banned from the Spurs? Transfer person, and he banned for like a year of transactions.
I don't know, and it's probably maybe poor that I don't know, but I don't know. It's January and we've not heard nothing from him and all this, and obviously this has come out, and like I said, 11 former and current executives have received sanctions. So, I mean, wouldn't surprise me if he's
Juventus are a dirty club. That's like the second time in our lifetime they've been docked points or done match fixing or done something dodgy.
15 points as well. That's a big chunk.
And that basically crowns Napoli as champions because they were second, I think, at the time.
Yeah, Juve are third, or were third, and obviously quite good and weren't even doing bad, and now mid-table and 22 points are on, I think.
So hopefully the Premier League get their act together and do the same to Man City.
Well,
that'd be lovely.
Like you mentioned it earlier, I think about FFP, but like Everton, I think they're in trouble because of what they've done and things and whatever else. But Chelsea, I think they're about to spend $500 million since the summer because they're getting someone else. Like, how is that fair? How is that within the rules and regulations of what's going on? I don't understand. I know people say, "Well, we signed Madrid, we're young," and like, no, scrap all that. You paid 85 million plus for this person. You paid all this other money for all these other players. I don't. It just doesn't make sense to me how they get away.
The reason they get away with it somehow is because this is why they're giving the 8.5, the 7-year contracts.
Yeah. No, I get what
because that's what it's how you expense a player over the term of its contract to see how much it's worth, and obviously the instalments are different and the revenue they get back in. Yeah. Man City, the worst of Man City have been under investigation for years on it, but that's because they, I think is it Etihad Airways? Etihad is the company, isn't it? They sponsor Man City like 200% the actual value of the whatever, I don't know. Emirates would sponsor Arsenal. Yeah. Etihad sponsor them like 10 times the figure. Yeah. Like it's not in the same ballpark because Etihad own the owners own the same. It's like it's money laundering. That's what it is. It is. It's Better Call Saul, money laundering. That's all it is. But done by the most intelligent people, and that's what they get away with all the time because they've got more money. FIFA can't compete with Man City. And at the end of the day, this is why FFP will never work, because it will never work for the big teams, let me put it that way, because they're never ever going to ban Barcelona. Imagine prime Barcelona with Messi, all the best players in the world. Oh, they failed FFP, you're out of the Champions League. Yeah. No one will watch it.
They tried to build a Super League, didn't they?
Yeah.
For the money reasons.
They won't do it because they're so scared that they'll leave, and that's what will happen. They will never enforce it properly.
And on this, I know, a bit of a side topic, and this is what I'm about to say is in reference to Sean Dyche and his amazing ability, but I think their net spend from 2016 to 2020 at Burnley was 59 million on transfers. 59 million pounds.
Over how many years, sorry?
4 years.
That's
59. And then from 2020 to 2022, they had a net spend of £4 million. So how is that fair? That can't be. I know Burnley have lack of money and they don't want to invest and blah, blah. But how can they be doing that? Tottenham be doing what they're doing. Arsenal have done what they've done. And Chelsea spending loads, City spending loads, and all the rest of it. How is that fair? That's not fair, is it? If you're trying to keep using that word, financial fair play, then that's clearly not.
Well, this is. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here for a second. Now Neville's always put up the fact that because he's got a rich owner, he looks after Salford. Why can he not spend his money and make them the best team and pay the big wages? Why can't he do it as his money? Same as Wrexham. They're paying Football League players to play in the conference to get him up.
And that's what Salford.
But also,
Salford done, sorry.
Why are Newcastle good now? Yeah. Because they've got Saudi money, and that's a bit sad for me. That's what I know. You'll roll your eyes, and that's why it's sort of nice that Arsenal are doing well. It gives other teams hope that you can actually get to top of the league without the Saudi money. Because
but Arsenal have.
That's why I've always liked Liverpool, because Liverpool spent loads of money. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But Liverpool have had to be at like the best game, the best coaches, the best players have had to be that good to even compete. Like 5 years down the time, it could just be literally every year is going to be City and Newcastle battling it out. Like it could be that, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
it makes it.
Interesting topic, I suppose.
We shall. It's a topic for another day.
On to the teaser.
Yeah, let's get on to that. So, Everton are one of the 12 founding members of the Football League, but can you name the other 2 current Premier League teams in this list?
Is it Arsenal?
No. You can have a guess at the other founding members.
So you're saying 2 current sides in the Prem? Spurs?
No. I mean, I had no idea all these teams were all the founding members, to be honest.
Well, I thought it was Arsenal. I definitely thought it was Arsenal, but it's
No, they founded. So these founded the Football League back in whenever that was.
But you're saying 2 of them are in the Prem right now?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, terrible. It's fun.
Too far, I would have no idea.
Villa,
Yeah.
Aston Villa, and Southampton.
No. Wolves.
Is it Wolves?
So
Yeah.
I need to do some more research on this because I actually feel bad for not knowing. So all these teams and the 12 founding members are all in the Midlands. So I assume that's where the league started, and then just sort
it probably would have.
worked its way north and south.
They're probably like working class, and because the old years and years ago they used to leave the factories and play football on a Wednesday and that time of the weekend.
So the 12 founding members: Accrington Stanley, who are they?
Exactly.
Aston Villa, Blackburn Rovers, Bolton Wanderers, Thogden FC,
Oh, good.
Burnley, Derby, Everton, Notts County, Preston North End, Stoke, West Brom, and Wolves.
Quality side.
They are your 12 founding members.
Lovely. Very good.
I did try to find an Everton teaser, but I couldn't really find one. So I was watching Thogden last night, getting some inspo, and he was telling me all about the founding members. And that Everton are a founding member and they need our help.
Yes.
So I brought it to our listeners' attention that Everton need our help.
That's good. Very nice.
But I don't think that brings a wrap to the podcast.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're done.
Episode 29.
29, yeah.
Episode 30 to come.
Around the corner.
Wow, 30 episodes already. It's gone quick.
January 23rd tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, so while we're on it, it's a nice little milestone. I can't get my words out tonight. Thank you again for your continued support. It really does mean a lot to us. Keep sharing, liking, putting your stories. If you haven't given 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you get your podcasts from. To be honest, YouTube as well. If you want to, just drop us a like. We don't really use YouTube that much, but the episodes upload automatically on there. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get some more content on there shortly, or whenever we decide to film, or whatever we decide to do the podcast. There's an avenue.
Yes.
We need to get
equipment for it.
Yeah. But yeah, that is. Again, thank you for the great support.
Yes.
Over the last week, I think we hit about 4,000 listeners or something like that. So we're
doing all right.
We're doing all right, and it's all down to you guys, really.
Yeah, keep listening, like Tate said. Yeah, just hopefully you keep enjoying it. Like we said, episode 30 around the corner. So.
And remember, just to stay loyal.
Stay loyal.